Hello everyone, hope you're all doing great. So this is in no way going to answer all the questions that you have because I'm also still working on this project, but I'm doing this short video to kind of help because I've seen a couple of questions here by Tuwank13E and also SH Tithmas has a couple of questions. So just to quickly address this. So first of all, Fetch.ai, if you're starting off, you need to go to the Fetch docs and you go to development, under development, getting started, then AEA quick start. So essentially this page alone will help you set up an environment. Now, if you're using a command line interface, you'll have this environment here. So by the time you're done going through this page in this tutorial, in this particular tutorial under AEA quick start, you'll be able to have assigned your environment a particular name, in your AEA environment a particular name, and then you'll be able to type in into your command line interface pip environment shell, and this will essentially spawn up this AEA environment for Fetch.ai. So in this case, my environment is under a folder I named my AEA project. So when you see these brackets come up on the left here, you'll understand, at the point you'll then be in the Fetch.ai environment. And you can then, of course, when we go back to the tutorial for the Agent World 2, you are required to do a quick pip install upgrade. In case you already had this environment, you might be in an older environment. So when you do this quick upgrade, it should be able to bring you up to the latest version that's running on Fetch.ai. So at this point, you should be able to type in AEA init, and you can see your environment, including the name that you assigned after setting up your environment. You should be seeing your name, your author name, and we shall look at that later because I've seen some questions about that. So you have your AEA, your version, and your author name. So in the tutorial, so number 2, you asked to set up a simple seller Agent World environment 2, and essentially when you're here, you're supposed to copy this or type it in, and then after doing that, you type in you're going to invoke a couple of pre-written packages by the Fetch network or the Fetch team, and then you're going to ascribe this folder which is going to contain these packages and module any name that you want. So in my case, I set up this folder and I gave it the name Mawa AW2 final, and this folder which is right here. So once you receive this folder, you'll have a couple of packages within it. Now you'll see connections, contracts, protocols, and skills. These packages are outside here. The reason why they're out, and vendor. The reason why these packages are outside the vendor file is that these are the packages you can update. You cannot update something within the vendor file. If the packages within the vendor file are not supposed to be updated. I think that's a security feature or something like that. So that's why you notice in the tutorial or in this guide here by Fetch, you are required to extract the particular skills that you're going to update. So you're required to update into the vendor folders. You're required to copy paste the simple seller and the simple data folder. So you then bring them into the skills folder, which is outside the vendor folder. So once you've populated the skills folder, you then have, for instance, let's go into the simple data requester. In the simple data requester, you'll find a couple of files. There's the skill.yaml, there's the behavior, there's the dialogues, there's a handler. Now these are components of an AEA. So an autonomous economic agent is supposed to be an intelligent agent that has these semantic behaviors. So you give it these characteristics by updating these folders to whatever skill you want. If you have, for instance, you want data or a weather station or some mobility framework of some sort, you give the agent's capabilities in these folders. And you can see, for instance, the simple seller has strategies, so you can program strategies into this. So anyways, now for some of the questions that these two fine gentlemen had, we can see something to do with the author name, skills, simple data requests. So now simple data request, you can see this is under the simple data request folder. So what you can do is that you can copy this instruction, packages fetch.ai simple data request, or you can just copy this any part of it. Now what you're going to do after that is you can try out first. You go to behaviors, you search for it. Is there a command like that? And you'll see that we actually have something like that, which is the skills simple data request. Now originally this was fetch.ai, and this is what is being asked for. You can go to packages, you change that fetch.ai to your environment name, and that's done. So in this case, or whatever IDE you're using, so in this case personally I can say maybe find all, and then I can update any other folder that might have something similar. I can update them at the same time, but I already updated this, and I think in this case it's only one, and that's done. So you can then move on to another, let's say dialogues, and you search to find if there's anything like that within the dialogues. There's nothing. Then you can go within the handlers, you search, you see the handlers, we have it here, so you can change this. It was originally fetch.ai, then you can change it to your package name. Then there's an instantiating file right here, which contains a public ID, which is I think originally fetch.ai with a version of 0.2, and this is where you find, because you had a question, you had also a question about this, the fetch.ai simple seller. Now the simple seller will be within the instance file, which was fetch.ai 0.2. So you change this to your package name, and you also change the version. So then when you go back to the folder, you find also the skill.yaml. The skill.yaml file will have a field which is the author. Now the author was originally fetch.ai, so you can change it to your environment name, your author name, which is whatever name. In my case it's Mawa, and then your agent is still called simple data request. So I think that addresses some of the questions that you had, because you asked about the simple seller. I've showed you it's in the instance file. You asked about this, it's about the skills of simple data, it's in these files, which were essentially here. So everything that you need to change is here. The other thing maybe that I can point out is when you go when you've just opened the folder, you can see there's a file here, which is the AA config.yaml. Now this config.yaml contains a bunch of things. Now if you remember the packages that we spoke of, you can see them being represented here. You can see connections, you can see protocols, you can see the skills here. And when you get into some of these packages, for instance in skills, simple data requester or whatever, and you look at the handler has a couple of things. There's the HTTP handler. This is Python code. The HTTP handler is a class. So you find a lot of this code being represented within this YAML file, and in this case that's actually where you find the location. So you can see the latitude and longitude, and you can make adjustments to that here depending on what city you want to work on. Anyways, and don't forget to adjust the fingerprint whenever you change files within the skills, as long as the file is outside of the vendor. So in this case we're altering contents of files that are within skills that's outside of the vendor folder. Remember to always follow this instruction that says fingerprint skill. So you can just copy this. This is the version we've been assigning. Copy that, paste it into here, paste it into your command line interface, and then remember to change this to whatever name you assigned your environment to. In this case, in my case, it is Mawa, and then we do that. So it's not working because I've not yet commanded into my folder, which I named Mawa final. So yes, so this is where my folder is actually contained, the one that I'm working on. So if I run that command again, it should be able to work. Fingerprint, yeah, so it has updated everything as long as it's outside of the vendor, and then you can try to continue. Hope this helps. Take care, guys.